Welcome to CIO After Dark, a special spin-off series from Leadership, The Secret Sauce, recorded live at ICF Converge 2025. Join Matt Dodson and guest host Helen Dan as they capture the energy and insights from coaches and leaders after hours. In this intimate series, we're uncovering the secret ingredients that make coaching cultures thrive, exploring the ripple effects of transformation, and maybe even finding a few rally cries along the way. So dim the lights, lean in close, and let's discover what happens when coaching conversations come alive after dark. This episode is brought to you by Character Matters Coaching. At Character Matters, we believe leadership isn't just about results. It's about who you are while achieving them. Whether you're facing career transitions, building stronger teams, or navigating personal growth, we help leaders unlock clarity, strengthen resilience, and lead with authenticity. Because when your character grows, your impact grows. Learn more at www.charactermatterscoaching.com.
In today's episode, we have Matt. That's great to have you here, Matt. Thanks for coming. And we're going to sit down and we just really want to know a little bit about your secret sauce, about who you are as a coach. Maybe hear your story, maybe some challenges that you face as a coach, and what you've learned so far at the conference, if you want to share that. And we encourage you as listeners to stick around and hear Matt's insights. So why don't we start off with the first question?
Okay, awesome. Hi, Matt. So happy you're here. So, of course, over at Coaching and Organizations, we're often talking about coaching cultures, and you have some great insight about that. So, if a coaching culture had a secret ingredient, what would it be?
That's a very interesting question.
And you can maybe even start by telling us what you think a coaching culture.
Yeah, that's a good way to start. So, to me, a coaching culture is a curious culture. So really one that is focused on, not being the expert and not having to have all the answers, but willing to explore, dig deeper, stay open to possibilities. And so the secret sauce or secret ingredient, what was it?
Either one.
Either one.
Yeah. I do think, I want to say curiosity is one thing. That's because I've already said that. I think that's almost like the foundation. You've got to come from a place of curiosity. It was interesting in a session earlier today, somebody mentioned that they were teaching coaching skills to leaders, and they were talking about the word curiosity. And she asked, when you hear the word curiosity, what does that mean? And somebody said, nosy. And so it was really interesting to step back and think about the fact that, we think of curiosity as coaches as being a very positive thing, but for others it may not be a positive thing, it may be a negative thing. And so really helping open up cultures to that feeling of curiosity. And then I think another word is care and compassion. So, I believe the best leaders believe that people naturally want to make a difference and make a positive impact in their life and in the lives of others. And so I think if you don't start with that positive care and compassion, you can't be an effective leader. And so I think that curiosity and that compassion is what then helps be effective as a coach.
How about you? What's your secret sauce as a coach?
Yeah, I think for me it's active listening. I really feel like that's something I can do really, really well, and I'm able to recognize things in others that they may not recognize, and pick up on patterns or connections, or help people see things that they're contributing or they're doing in ways that they may not have recognized before. So now what I always like to say when I teach coaching skills to leaders is you can be really good at listening, but then you still have to intentionally choose to apply that skill. Because like I often say, if my wife heard me say that, she might say I'm not a good listener. So just because I have the skill and abilities doesn't mean that I always apply it, but I do think that's one of my strengths.
So when did you know it? When did you know that intentional listening was your secret sauce?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know if there was a time when I knew, or when I found that out. What I will say is, and I don't know if this is an answer to your question, but when I first got exposed to coaching and learned about coaching, My mother used to call me the Dear Abby of my high school. And so I realized as I heard this other coach talk about what she did, I was like, that's what I've done kind of my whole life. Now after becoming a coach, I realized that I was doing a lot of advice giving as well at that point in time. But I think, way back then, I was a listener. People confided in me. So I don't know if I would have been able to label at that point in time that it was about active listening, but that's when I began to connect the dots that, coaching is kind of who I've been, my whole life, and this is kind of what I need to do.
One thing I feel like people, maybe even outside the coaching community, maybe those inside, perhaps are hesitant or somewhat intimidated by active listening is like, I've got to be really on and I've got to respond perfectly. I have to really capture everything. So I'd love to hear sort of your take on that and what the actual action of active listening entails.
That's a great point. And I actually think it's the exact opposite. It's really about, so one of the things I say a lot is trust the process. And so just telling people, a lot of times I'll get asked when I'm teaching coaching skills to leaders, is it okay to take notes? And I'm like, sure, you can take some notes, but you don't want to take copious notes because then you're not present and you're not listening. And yeah, I might be coaching you and you said something that piqued my interest, and you might go on and continue talking for 2 minutes and then something else came up. If that thing that first came up, if it's meant to be, it'll come back to me later. And that's really where the trust the process comes in. So it's really just about being in the moment with that person, and then also that silence is okay, and that it's important to just be quiet after they get done talking. You don't have to jump in with a question. It's okay to pause and think about the question you're going to ask based upon what they just said. So I agree, a lot of people feel like, I've got to take all this information in, I got to respond quickly, but it's actually the exact opposite. So if we can just help people free themselves of that notion of I have to do that, then it can be a lot easier to lean into that skill.
Matt, what do you see as just sort of like, if you were to kind of like get a 500-foot view, what's the ripple effect of coaching in any organization that you've encountered? What happens? Especially like, because you mentioned you teach coaching skills. Okay, so you're sort of doing like what we would say is like the first thing to really get it into an organization, right? For them to experience that. But what's the long-term ripple effect of that?
Personally, I think this is one of the best ways to build critical thinking. So I think the biggest long-term effect is that you are building critical thinking in anybody that you coach. So if you're a leader and you have a team of 10 people and you take that coaching approach with those 10 people, you're building their critical thinking, which then increases their ability and their capacity to take on more. They're not inundating the leader with questions all the time, which then frees up the leader to operate at the level that they should be operating at. And so to me, that's the ripple effect that it has. I've also seen it have a huge impact on retention because they're empowered, they're engaged, they're excited, and so they're less likely to leave and go somewhere else because they're being respected for their expertise, they're being tapped for that expertise. And so I think those are the two biggest things, is building that critical thinking, freeing up capacity of leaders above, and then ultimately retention.
So obviously that is inspiring, but what else has inspired you so far? We've had a day of the conference. You're presenting tomorrow. I hope that's inspiring. But yeah, what have you heard so far that's piqued your interest?
Well, I was in the session on coaching culture earlier. So one of the things in there that I really liked was the take on the fact that a coaching culture is not a destination, but it's a journey, and that it's going to look many different ways for many different organizations. So I think that's very freeing because it's so easy to think, I got to have all of these things and all these things in place. So that I really liked that. And then I really liked the keynote speaker, and I think she did a great job of really challenging us to think about our biases and how that shows up And I think she made it really practical and also, in a way that isn't threatening making anybody wrong. It's natural. It's the way our brain works. And so how do we recognize those things and start to kind of catch those biases and those filters that, unconsciously we don't even know that are happening. So those are the two things so far that I'm kind of really taking away.
Great.
I'm going to let you ask the last question
Okay.
about the rally cry.
Yeah.
Because I think
Okay.
you've got this better than I wrote it. So, yeah.
Well, and I'll be careful not to stack a question here. But so if you could create a new organization and you're going to be the leader of the coaching program, so you're going to be the champion of this aspirational coaching culture, what would be your rally cry and the theme song?
Oh, wow. Ooh, man.
When you really want to get motivated, Matt, what do you listen to?
Yeah. What's the walk-on music for your coaching program?
Oh, Dave Lipsky would be so proud of you.
The walk-on music. Oh, wow. Well, that could be, anything from Eye of the Tiger to the final countdown.
Excellent.
I don't know if that. I mean, those are good walk-on music. I don't know if that's a rallying cry for. I don't know. I think rallying cry, I guess it would be something like "Together We Can." It's really about, to me, it's about tapping into the power, the influence of the whole organization versus it just being from the top down. And so, the fact that we can really all come together and take whatever organization is, if everybody's working together, kind of take it to that next level.
Awesome.
Katherine, what's your takeaway? Any insight?
Well, what just came to mind when you were describing that was like, if we take that image of the ripple effect, it's like when you're starting out a program or you're thinking about the program, you actually can think about that like dream of the farthest ripple and get the stakeholders from there. Like think as outwardly as you can and then bring it back in, and then it actually becomes this ebb and flow. And I feel like with developing a culture of curiosity and thinking about the impact, you could do that.
Yeah, no, that's a good image. I like that.
Yeah.
And I think my takeaway is, I don't think I have ever said to a business, hey, one of the ripple effects of coaching is better critical thinking. And I've totally missed it. I think I just been like, I don't know why I missed it. I'm like looking for like appreciative inquiry and maybe all of these things that they would go, oh, that's so touchy-feely, Matt. Like me, Matt, not you, Matt. But critical thinking is like, oh, hey, look, this is a tangible like thing that you can say, hey, look, this is really going to help us. I mean, it's almost like what we would say is like, hey, if you dissent and you've made it safe to dissent, then our thinking is going to be better. Yeah. And the way to get to that dissent is to ask an open-ended question like, rather than, you're an idiot, you're wrong. Yes. Right? I mean, I think that was my really kind of takeaway. So I haven't described the benefits of coaching in terms that they appreciate. Right? I'm so used to speaking like an HR person, and they immediately turn off. They go, oh, well, you're HR. And so they don't, so thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Very cool.
Matt, what's the best way people can get a hold of you? Is LinkedIn? Is there?
Yeah, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn. My email address is long and convoluted, so I won't go through all that. But if you look for me on LinkedIn, it's the letter J, Matthew Becker, because there's a lot of Matt Beckers in the world, so I go by J, Matthew Becker.
You're the most important one.
Yeah.
No offense to any other Matt Beckers listening.
But yeah, LinkedIn is the easiest.
Okay, great. All right, to our listeners, what is your secret sauce? We want to hear from you. Please share it on social and subscribe to the show and join our community for more ways to strengthen your leadership. Special thanks again to our show sponsor, Character Matters Coaching and Consulting. Do you ever feel like you're working hard but not making the impact that you were hoping? At Character Matters Coaching and Consulting, we help leaders and organizations move from stuck to unstoppable. Through our one-on-one coaching and team consulting, we don't just work on skills, we work on the leader behind those skills. Visit charactermatterscoaching.com to discover how we can help sharpen your edge, grow your influence, and lead with purpose. Until next time, thanks, Matt, for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. If you love this podcast, please share it with another coach or leader. Make sure you go to the show notes to get all the resources from today's episode.